Hey everybody, Ray here. Today we're going to make some more shelves for my daughter's garage up in Wisconsin. We're trying to help them get a little bit more organization in that garage so stuff isn't just strewn all over the place. If you remember, not too long ago I posted a video about making a shelf and a ski rack to support and hang their snow skis. It worked out really well and it's much more organized. Well, today we're going to make more of a general purpose shelf, but really the design is to make sure that they have a place to put basketballs and volleyballs and soccer balls and all those kinds of sporting things that my granddaughter's starting to get into. So if you think you'd be interested in how to make a shelf like that, hang around. I'm going to show you how to do it. And don't forget, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up for me. I really appreciate it. Now there will be two shelves involved here, a wider one on the top and one that's not so wide at the bottom. So what I did was I went out and I got 6-foot common pine boards. That's about the cheapest pine that you can get. And I got 6 foot because I really only need that shelf to be 70 inches wide. So I'll have to cut a couple of inches off of the length of these boards. I bought one 1x12, 6 foot long, one 1x8, 6 feet long, and then two 1x6s, 6 feet long. One of these will be used to make a French cleat. The other one will be put underneath the shelves so I can put pegs in to hang things on. The cost of all of this lumber has been about $35, so not too expensive so far. We've cut our 1x12 and our 1x8 down to the 70 inches that we need for the shelf. The next thing I want to do is I want to be able to connect the 8-inch shelf to the 12-inch shelf. So picture this as being the bottom of the shelf. What I have to bear in mind here is that I'm going to be putting in a French cleat on the inside of the back of the top shelf. Now, what I've done to be able to attach my 8-inch shelf underneath the 12-inch shelf is I've made a couple of these struts. These struts are 10 inches high. The reason for 10 inches is a basketball has a diameter of 9.5 inches. That will be the biggest ball that will be sitting on the lower shelf. So if I give myself 10 inches, I've got plenty of room to slide that basketball in there. The other thing you'll notice is that I've cut this at a 6-degree angle. The reason I did that was to have as much of this strut supporting the 1x12 as I could. So when I put my supports in here and then I attach my 1x8 on the top of it, it will sit like that. So it will be flush here and then work its way up to the 1x12. Now, I had to cut that 6-degree angle, which I was able to do with my miter saw. If you don't have the ability to do that, just use a 1x6. That will be fine. And then just put the 1x6 on there, and that will be enough to support your 8-inch shelf underneath and give some support to your 1x12 on top. I put a spacer behind the struts here to offset it 3/4 of an inch to account for the fact that I'll have that French cleat in here. Then I just squared up that strut and made sure that it was clamped down so I could put in my screws. Got my pocket screws in there nice and tight. I'll do all 4 of these and then I'll show you how to put that 8-inch piece on top. To attach the 8-inch shelf, I simply flipped this over. So now what you're looking at is the 12-inch top and the 8-inch bottom of the shelf. I made sure that my ends were lined up. I used the spacer again to make sure that the 8-inch piece was spaced back to account for the French cleat that will go up underneath the 12-inch board. So when I put this up against the wall, both of these shelves will fit flush against the wall. Now all I have to do is go along and screw in these individual struts to hold the top to the bottom. You can see I've clamped each side to get myself started. To make our French cleat, I took one of the 1x8s and I cut it down to about 69.5 inches. It doesn't have to be the full 70 inches to mount it, so 69.5 inches should be fine. And I'm going to cut this in half at a 45-degree angle. I'll show you how this French cleat is going to work to mount this up on the wall. The first part of the French cleat will be attached with pocket holes and pocket hole screws to the shelf itself. Note that the angle of the 45 degree is pointing up into the shelf. This piece here will be screwed this way into the wall. Now, I can find out wherever those 16-inch centers are to make sure that I get this screwed into the stud, and I can put those screws in when I put this up. It doesn't affect at all how I'm going to hang this. So one of the benefits of the French cleat is you can get the bottom part of your cleat mounted to the studs on your wall. Then you can put this and slide it on top of it. So once this is mounted to the wall, we would bring the shelf back against it and then just let it slide down until it locks in to the other piece of the 45, which goes up this way. It'll lock that in very tightly. I'll still put 1 or 2 screws in here to make sure that this holds tight, and I'll show you when I put the bottom piece on, we'll put a couple of screws in there too. But this French cleat is ideal for this kind of a situation. Now, once you've established that you have your upper part of your French cleat correctly set such that it's going to lock when you put this piece on the wall, the next step is to come back and just put a little pencil mark where you want to put the holes for your pocket screws. The reason you want to do that now is you take this board down and then you start manipulating it around to put it into the pocket hole jig. If you flip it over and get it on the wrong side, then what happens is you're going to put the holes for the pocket hole screws on the inside. This is where you'll see into this shelf. You don't want those holes to show, so you want to make sure that you get it on the back side. So it's a little step, but it's kind of an important step at the end of the day when you want things to look right. With our pocket holes in our cleat, we can now go along and attach the cleat to the shelf. Now recall that I said that I would be putting balls on this bottom shelf here, and I don't want them rolling off. So I'm going to take this little piece here, a little trim piece here, and this is about 3/4 inches, almost 3/4 by 3/4, but whatever you want to use would be just fine for this. And just create yourself a little lip, so if that ball tries to roll this way, it'll catch on the edge here and it won't roll off your shelf. Now we can attach the 1x8 that will sit against the wall to our shelf, and we're doing that with the pocket screws as well. So just to show you how sometimes things just happen, I was flipping this thing upside down to put the part of the French cleat on here. And when I did that, I also knew that I wanted to put this 8-inch backer board on here on the bottom side. Well, I forgot to turn it back over because this really is the bottom. And this 8-inch piece should be here, not down here. So obviously we're going to take it off of there and put it back up here where it's supposed to be. But sometimes when you're flipping things around or turning them sideways, you lose track and you make a mistake. It happens. Okay, our shelf is complete. It only took me about 10 minutes to take that 1x8 off of the top here where it wasn't supposed to be and put it back down on the bottom where it was supposed to be. Now, next time you see this, it'll be up in Wisconsin. I'll be putting it up in my daughter's garage. And when I do that, I'll bring you back and show you how we do that and how it looks. Now we're up here in Wisconsin in my daughter's garage, and we're going to go ahead and mount our shelf that we made. I first of all want to apologize for the quality of the audio. I forgot to bring my microphone, so we're just using the microphone that's on the cell phone. It'll be okay, but not great. Now the first thing we want to do is to mount our cleat up onto the wall that we're going to hang the shelf onto. Now you can see that I've got a 45-degree angle going down this way. So we will mount this against the wall with the 45 going toward the wall. Now I've already marked the height at which I want to mount this, and I've already marked where the studs are in the wall. I'm going to use 2.5-inch screws to screw this into the wall. What I did first was to put a screw kind of in the middle. Now I can take my level and make sure that this is level before I put any of the screws in toward the side. And you see it needed to come down just a little bit. And right there, we're level. We can put our other screws in. One of the advantages of using a French cleat is if you've got something like this, a long, wide, awkward shelf, or something that's heavy, you're still able to hang it by yourself. I mounted our bottom cleat to the wall with 4 screws. Mounted my shelf just to be on the safe side because kids have been known to climb on things. I put 3 screws in the top part of the cleat into the wall, and then 3 screws into the bottom part of the shelf here into the wall. That should be more than enough to handle kids climbing on it if they decide to. So I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. Here's what's supposed to be their gardener's room, so they call it. There's a set of bocce balls on the floor there. There's ice skates, baseball gloves, tennis balls, tennis rackets. Here are all of their balls. There's stuff down here. It's just kind of a mess in here. And all of this is going to get moved out on that shelf. So I'm going to move it out there and we'll see how it looks. We may not be completely organized yet, but I think you get the idea. This shelf is working out really well. In addition to that, I also brought this shelf up that I made. I will reference that video up above or in the description below because this really helped too. Well, as always, I hope this video was of some help to you. If it was, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And I'll see you on the next video.